And dating apps have promised better connections with a wider group of people. They're incentivized to keep you hooked on their platform, swiping left and right, turning the search for love into kind of game. And that's leaving some feeling more disconnected and lonely. An upcoming episode of CBSN Originals, Speaking Frankly, dives into the world of digital relationships.
So there's over 3,000 dating apps in the industry. And so the competition is really fierce in order to get access to people's eyeballs. It can get really seedy really quickly.
Your goal here is to find someone to meet. So almost like, in Super Mario Brothers, you're trying to find the princess in the castle, right? But which castle? There's something about it, because it's an app, it doesn't feel real. Because there's no consequence, it's like a game.
It can be very scary as a woman dating online. The first few people that I matched with on Tinder, I ended up being in a situation where they wanted to Skype with me, and at least 3 of these guys they started masturbating in front of me and just wanted to be sexual when I hadn't really given them the okay. It was just like, here it is. And so I found that very shocking.
I think that one way that people can theoretically tackle the issue associated with gamification is through understanding what they're doing. If people feel like they're mindlessly swiping, they need to change their behavior. I don't believe that the apps inherently make people less mindful. It's on the people to be responsible for their own behavior. It's like driving a car. People can choose to drive a car safely or drive a car erratically. That is their intention. You can speed, you can be safe. And frankly, people need to be thinking about those types of things when they're dating online.
CBSN Originals producer Diego Sr. joins me now. Diego, can I say I got married, before the dating apps came on the scene. I always felt maybe I missed out on something, but seeing this, you present this other side. How has it changed the way people look for love?
Dating apps have revolutionized the way people look for love. Basically, since they started coming into the scene 10 years ago, they have made us go faster and quicker into relationships. That sometimes that might have its downsides. And what we found in this documentary, some of the people in it can attest to it, is that they are experiencing these dating apps that are meant to find love, making real connections, as video games and as games, because basically of the way you interact with them and sometimes the way they are designed, which is kind of one of the aspects that we dive into.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about these unintended consequences of these dating apps.
Yeah. Well, the unintended consequences can go a long way when you're using them as a game. For instance, you can send lewd pictures without thinking of the consequence of whatever is going to happen with that. That's why you saw some woman, one of the interviewees, saying that she had all these men masturbating in front of her, and that's only
one. That it was okay.
Yeah, for them it's okay because they suffer from, and one of the experts that we interview in the documentary says it's a situation called de-individuation, in which you just act like you wouldn't act. And that happens a lot in different social media in general, but it's worse in dating apps because you're more exposed and you are vulnerable because you're looking to expose your soul and to find a soulmate.
Right. It's so crazy because a lot of people are just genuinely looking for love. Yeah. And then you've got these other factors here. How big would you say is the dating app industry?
It's pretty big and growing fast.
Really?
It's 25 million users in America, which it's multiplied by the tens if you consider the rest of the world, but we focused on American users. And also, it's a market that is growing between the $3 and the $12 billion a year. It's going to,
a lot of money.
Those are the estimates, and the biggest player is even bigger. The cap market for this match group, which owns 5 out of the 10 largest dating apps, is almost $19 billion. That was published today in the Wall Street Journal, that their stock keeps growing despite of Facebook joining into the dating app industry, and despite their little fallout with the FTC.
So you talked to me about the downsides of these apps for dating. Are there upsides?
Yes, love.
Who could disagree with that?
Exactly. It's worth doing it. And as one of the experts will show in the documentary, it's worth going through the hassle if you know and if you're aware of what you want and your intention. Like the way we use different technologies, like the way we approach a car, she would say, is that if you know how to use it and you're willing to sacrifice, and sometimes a little privacy too, because by the mere fact that you're using technology, you're already sacrificing a lot of privacy. You can just go ahead and find it if you want.
Some of us still believe in the old-fashioned way of finding people.
Oh, well, I do too. I found mine
Really?
The old-fashioned way through friends. But then, you know, one of the great sides about dating apps is that they opened the dating pool for a lot of people. Usually in the 1930s, one of the studies we found, Americans would only date within their neighborhood. Sometimes in Pennsylvania, the study was focused in Pennsylvania, you would only date people within the same building.
Wow.
So this is kind of better for our genes as well.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting
yeah.
outlook. Diego Sr., thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And the CBSN Originals documentary, Speaking Frankly, Dating Apps, premieres this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern on CBSN. You can actually stream it right now, cbsnews.com/dating.